Donald Trump was at one of his golf courses in Scotland after members of the UK voted in the special referendum to leave the EU. And he didn't really want to address the fact that the UK was leaving the EU. In fact, the first portion of his press conference was all about his wonderful golf course. We're going to show you a little snippet of that, and then we'll show you what he finally was forced to say about Brexit. Take a look.
My mother was born in Scotland, in Stornoway. She loved Scotland. She would be here a lot. She would come every year with my sister Marion and my sister Elizabeth, and she was something special. And to think that we'd be here owning Turnberry one day would be incredible. She would come to Turnberry with her friends, and they'd have dinner at Turnberry. She didn't play golf, but they'd have dinner at Turnberry. So having taken this hotel and done the job that we've done with it is just an honor that we've taken the lighthouse, which is a very, very important building in Florida, in Scotland. And we've taken that building and made it something really special. Inside the lighthouse right now is incredible.
Yeah, blah, 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 blah. Okay.
First of all, can I just say one thing? It's a great story.
It's a great story.
It's a great story. I hope she should tell it again.
He's got 2 sisters.
He's got 2 sisters, yeah. His mom used to eat dinner.
Did you know how incredible those new suites are?
They're so incredible.
They're so incredible.
Yeah. You know what the word, when I edit copy, and I do a lot of that for my job, mostly what I do is take out the word very. It's never necessary.
Very is a filler word that people use when they're stalling because they don't know what they're going to say next, right?
And he 600 words I have to write? I can't write 600 words, so I guess everything's going to be very, very
Now, would the word many also qualify?
No, many works in a different way. Very is nothing but a
no value added.
There's never value added. 1 out of 1,000 varies is necessary. Donald Trump loves the word very.
He doesn't, okay, so just as recently as Wednesday, by the way, Donald Trump had admitted that he wasn't following Brexit. He didn't know much about Brexit. So here he is in Scotland, right, which voted overwhelmingly against leaving the European Union. And he's just rambling on and on and on about his properties and his golf course, completely out of touch, by the way, with people who are frustrated with the economic situation in the UK, right? And then finally, he's pressured to address it. And when he does, he makes absolutely no sense. All right, so let's go to the next video clip where he was finally forced to give some answers about Brexit.
How would a Trump administration approach the Brexit should you be elected president? And as Scotland voted 62-38 to remain, should Scotland leave the UK, as many people are talking about?
I think I see a big parallel. I think people really, people want to take their country back. They want to have independence in a sense. And you see it with Europe, all over Europe. You're going to have more than just, in my opinion, more than just what happened last night. You're going to have, I think, many other cases where they want to take their borders back. They want to take their monetary back. They want to take a lot of things back. They want to be able to have a country again. People want to see borders. They don't necessarily want people pouring into their country that they don't know who they are and where they come from. They have no idea. Look, if the pound goes down, they're going to do more business. You know, when the pound goes down, more people are coming to Turnberry, frankly, and the pound has gone down.
Are you traveling with any of your foreign policy advisors? You knew this was going to happen today. There was going to be some sort of decision. Are you huddling with them to find out what the best way?
Well, I've been in touch with them, but there's nothing to talk about. I've been saying that I would prefer what happened. I thought this would be a good thing.
The Treasury Secretary, the Fed Chairwoman have both said they expect this, if the Brexit was successful, to have a negative impact on the U.S. economy. Are you worried about that at all?
Sarah, they don't know. Look, we're going to have to see how it plays out.
It already has had a negative impact on not only the U.S. economy, but it's had an impact on the global economy because everything's tied together. People have already lost some money in their retirement accounts, their 401ks. I feel like
there's nothing to talk about. There's nothing to talk about here.
He's a fucking idiot. Okay, so just as recently as Wednesday, he totally confessed he has no idea what he's talking about, and you can see the fear in his eyes as he's being asked about Brexit because he's like, "Fuck, man, I don't know. Can I play this game? Can I somehow convince people that I know what I'm talking about?" But when the pound goes down,
it's good.
It's good for business.
Good for business.
Yeah, so I guess when the dollar goes down, it's great for America.
Yeah. But I felt like doing one of those Ben Affleck Deflategate rants, because it's like it's insane. This guy is the presumptive nominee, right, for the Republican Party, and he's like, who needs advisors? And he said earlier, and then they were wrong. And I don't want those advisors. They were wrong. They were wrong. We want new advisors. Like, what is he talking about? He has he doesn't even care.
Great follow-up would have been then if the dollar sinks.
Right.
So it'd be great for the Japanese who could come play Doral. Right? Because it'd be great for, right, they'll come, it's cheap.
Yeah.
It's cheap. Come over here, yeah.
So what I've been thinking about this, right? So that was Katie Tour who asked that question. And I just think it's time we stop asking Donald Trump questions until he answers for all the lies that we know he's lied. They had someone come on MSNBC the other day. MSNBC is hooked up with PolitiFact, right, to do fact-checking because NBC News apparently doesn't have that ability. So they have to then
contract it out.
Have to contract that out to a website. It's like, hey, we need to fact check people. How do we do that? I don't know. Ask Tom Brokaw. Didn't he used to do it?
How do we get a quote from somebody?
Is there an app or something?
Fact checking is old journalism.
To be fair to them, at least they're trying to fact check.
So,
even if they need a third party to do it for them, at least they're trying.
So I agree with you. So they brought a woman on from PolitiFact. They show her 2 minutes of his tape. She debunks 3 lies like that. Bam, bam, bam. That's not true. That's not true. That's not true. So the next time you ask him a question, if you're a reporter and you get access to Donald Trump, you should always ask him about his lies. Hey, you got caught lying 3 times in 1 minute the other day on MSNBC. Do you want to talk about this lie, that lie, or that lie? Hey, what about what are they finding in Hawaii? We should have never stopped asking that. Hey, what about the Muslims you said were cheering after 9/11? What about, those just go away because you stop asking about it. We know that he lies 2 times in 1 sentence. So every time a reporter asks Donald Trump, my request is just ask him about his lies and quit asking him about new information. Okay, that's all.
It's a great point, and they should, and there should be more. That said, independent of that, it was a pretty good question by Katie Turner.
No, it was a great question.
Because I loved the attitude in it. Are you huddling with your advisor?
You're huddling. That was no, Katie Tour. She knew just how to do it. That was nice work by Katie Tour there.
But on your point, he also, he's the first candidate that just, spreads, garbage, and he says it's fact. If Bernie now was a presumptive nominee, he'd be going, well, I heard he was a big fan of Stalin. And then so Lester Holt, right, who would go, well, where did he say that? Oh, I read it. It's all over, And he'd go, well, where did you actually see it? Well, I'll get my boys to tell you.
Yes.
And then he that's what he does. And the journalist.
And it works. It works for him.
I mean, I wrote a big piece on it last night. I was just really frustrated with Lester Holt because he's a good newsman. You have to stop the interview right there and say, listen, this is not fact. You cannot come on the air and just say what's ever on the top. You're not in the schoolyards of Queens. It's like you're not hanging out with a bunch of guys smoking a joint and just talking bullshit. This is serious.
Right. And so, and that's why it's weird. When you see that kind of serious journalism, you have to go to AM radio in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Because that guy all of a sudden became famous because he did exactly what you're saying to do.
Right,
when he didn't answer the question, he said, you're not answering the question and we're not moving on.
Right.
Check out that the host, Piers Morgan's co-host this morning with Neil Farge.
Oh, yeah,
Neil
she
Farge.
did a great job.
Yeah, she was like, wait, no, stop, go before you get to your dumb talking point.
Yeah.
So no, it's not going to go to NHS. You guys, that's all you did was say it was going to go there.
Yeah.
That's how you do it. That's right. You have to be kind of unpleasant.